Absolute basics for Roblox Studio. So the first thing you need to know is how to move your camera around. So what you can do is you can hold right click and then move your mouse around to look left and right. Without moving around, you just pan around. Next, you need to know how to move your camera alongside with panning it. So you can do W, S, A, and D, or if you're somebody that doesn't use W, S, A, D, you can use the arrow keys, which will work the exact same way, but it's a little bit easier to use W, S, A, D. Next, you need to know how to grab an object. So what you can do is you can left click and you'll select an object, or you can hold it when you left click and you can drag the object around. Now we're going to press Control Z to undo what we just did, but if we undid something and we wanted to actually redo it and we changed our mind, we would do Control Shift Z. Next, we need to use the move tool. So if you click move in the top left, you can click on an object, and then when you grab on these arrows up and down, left, right, front, back. Now we have the scale tool. Same concept, but you do it alongside only one part of the coordinate. So right here on the X, right here would be the Z, and then this would be the Y. Now what you can do if you want to increase an object size overall, what you would do is you'd hold shift, grab it from one angle, and when you pull it up, what it will do is it will stretch it, make it bigger going up. Or if you want to go down, down, left, you would hold shift and then pull it to the left, and it will grow the way you're pulling it. The next thing you know is how to rotate an object. So now if you click on the rotate tool and then you click on the object, or if you already had it selected, you can go and you can do it along each coordinate as well. Next, what you need to know is what collisions are. So if you have to believe when you first start Roblox Studio, collisions will be off by default. But if you have collisions on, it will collide with any object and it will go through it if you pull down far enough, left, right, however you want to do it. If you have collisions off, it just goes through the object. Next is the terrain editor, which you just need to know that it exists. It's something a little bit more advanced, but you can generate terrain or you can draw it, for example, like with grass, like that. Next that you need to know is the color. So when you have an object selected, you can change the color through choosing one of these colors. Now what you need to know is how to anchor an object. Anchoring an object is so that you start Roblox, this won't fall. So when you have this selected, you can click on anchor right here. Now we're moving to the modeling tab, and I'm going to click on the scale tab just to show you better for examples. You can turn the rotate degrees off completely, or you can choose whatever you want. So right now it's on 12 degrees, so it's snapped to 12 degrees. We click back on the scale tool, we can do the same thing with the move tool. I'll do it without using it along 0.5 studs, same thing with scaling it out, so you can see it's a lot smoother. The next thing you can do is you can edit pivot. The pivot point is the center that it is either moving from or rotating or scaling. So if we were to move the pivot point over here, if you were to rotate it, it would be from this position. The next thing is if you want to add a part, you just click this little part piece, or if you want to add a sphere, wedge, corner wedge, or cylinder, you select underneath the drop box. What we can do now is I can show you what the Explorer is. The Explorer is what everything is categorized under. Workspace is where all the objects you'll see will be. For example, base plate's right here, which is this huge plate, and the spawn location, which is where you will respawn from. The camera is the camera that you see personally, and you can change the FOV up and down. So we could do 90, we could do 50, or we can stick back to the default 70. There's more options, but I'm just showing you that this exists. You won't need to know any of the terrain stuff right now since you would be newer to Studio if you're watching this video. So next what we can do is if I insert a part, we can go over to the Properties tab. By the way, if you don't have Properties or Explorer open, they could be in different look, but usually Explorer, Properties, Toolbox is what you'll have open. If they're not open, you can go to View, Explore the top left, next to its Properties, right here's Toolbox. We don't need Command Bar. Command Bar isn't used much, especially for beginners. But anywho, we can go back to this part, Properties. You can change the size here, so if I wanted 111, it'll now be 111. But also, for a side note, if you really want to get into zoom into an object, you can just press the F key and it'll zoom right into it. You'll remember because F for find. Next, you can see the colors. They have these normal colors you can look at, and then you have the actual hues and stuff you can change around in here. Also change the darkness and brightness, saturation. So now what we can do is I can show you what materials are. So for example, if you want it to look like asphalt, scaling this up so you can see it better, you would be able to change the material to asphalt, basalt, brick, cobblestone, and the rest of these that are here. For the rest of this video though, I'm going to use smooth plastic on this part. Now if you wanted to lock the part so that you couldn't accidentally grab it or highlight it, select it, none of that. You would click lock, and now if I were to grab it, I couldn't do it. Now if I were to try to select it, Couldn't select it. Base plate is by default locked as well. Right here you can change the name of the part, so we will call it beginner part. And now if you go to explore, same beginner part, and everything here is listed in alphabetical order. Secondly, and first is identified by object. So this is a actual part versus this being a spawn location, terrain, camera. So all that is individually set because of what it is. Now if we go back to properties, anchored is here as well. Can collide just means if you can collide with the object or not. If you turn can collide off, that means you can walk through the object. And if it's unanchored and you can't collide, it falls through the world and disappears. If you have anchored on its can collide, it just means you can walk through the object. 88% of viewers are not subscribed, so subscribe now.